Então vamos assistir o próximo vídeo, que é o seguinte, veja bem. A individuação coletiva, né, ela, como eu disse, cinge o nós e eles, né. Essa etapa é, digamos, suprabiológica. É aquilo que eu sempre chamo aqui como sendo essa segunda pele da etnia. Os indivíduos, né, para se reconhecerem como parte do grupo, eles precisam se transformar. Chega ao ponto de modificar o seu corpo físico mesmo. Certo? Então, nós temos tribos, por exemplo, que se enfeitam de tal forma, que colocam alargador nos lábios, que, enfim, tem mil maneiras pelas quais uma coletividade impõe aos seus indivíduos uma transformação física. Lembrando que essa segunda pele, ela tem para o homem da tradição uma importância similar àquela que nós damos a uma diferença de espécie. Então, um indivíduo que se veste diferente é como se fosse um indivíduo de uma outra espécie. Ele não pertence ao círculo da humanidade, de fato, e sim ao círculo animal, ou ao círculo semi-humano. Então, é muito importante para as sociedades tradicionais modificarem o próprio corpo de alguma forma, seja acrescentando no corpo um adereço, uma vestimenta de tal modo, ou gravando essa diferença na forma de tatuagens, ou às vezes até mutilando, né, uma certa parte do corpo, por exemplo, circuncisão, né, que não deixa de ser, né, uma certa forma de marca do coletivo no corpo individual. O vídeo que nós veremos aqui, eu assisti só o comecinho, bem comecinho mesmo, trazer para vocês. É um vídeo do YouTube e eu acho interessante assistir isso aqui com vocês. Vai ser bacana.
Beauty. What is beauty? It is inherent.
A ênfase dele é essa questão da beleza. Ignorem isso, por favor. Certo? Não se trata de beleza, se trata de individuação coletiva. Parece que escapa a ele, assim. O que eu quero mostrar são apenas os exemplos que ele dá. Mas essa coisa que ele fala de beleza e tal, isso aí a gente pode ignorar.
Inherently subjective. What one culture or even one person finds to be beautiful, another may find strange, wrong, or even ugly. Around the world, many different people and cultures practice a wide variety of body modifications. Some go back centuries and have become a large part of their beliefs and religion. If nothing else, these are incredible examples of the adaptations our human bodies are capable of. Lip plating or lip stretching is one of the oldest body modification practices, dating back as far as 8,700 BC in Sudan and Ethiopia. Why exactly this practice began is unknown, with theories varying from some claiming it was done for beauty or showed higher status, and others saying it made women less attractive from slave traders and rival tribes. While having been practiced throughout the world at different time periods, it is now used by only a small number of tribes, mainly in Africa and the Brazilian Kayopo tribe. These are the Mercy people of the lower Omo River Valley in Ethiopia. Here, women will pierce their lips 6 to 12 months prior to marriage, inserting a small stick. As it heals, slightly larger plates are added until the diameter reaches 8 centimeters, with some stretching as far as 20 centimeters. These clay plates are meant to symbolize a woman's strength and self-esteem, while also displaying their social maturity. Women create their own plates, decorating and including personal accessories. In the small Kayan tribe located in northern Thailand, a common practice of neck stretching takes place. This is done because women with long, slim necks are seen as more desirable. Female children at the tender age of 5 begin taking part in this practice. In order to achieve these desirable necks, these round coils, each weighing up to 4 pounds, are one by one placed around their neck. As time goes on, more and more coils are added, resulting in their collarbone as well as their shoulders being gradually pushed down, this giving the appearance of a longer and stretched out neck. Women of this tribe claim that the coils around their necks begin to be just another part of their bodies. As time goes on, the coils added can reach a staggering 25 high. The reason this tribe views long, slim necks as desirable is because these women more resemble the very important mythical creatures of the Cayenne tribe, dragons. Scarification is a cultural ritual that takes place all over the world within different tribes. Two such tribes are the Sepik River tribes of Papua New Guinea and the Dinka tribe located in southern Sudan. The Dinka tribe practices scarification on the face by using a blistering hot knife to scar line patterns into young boys as well as girls. The boys are scarred to represent their manhood within the tribe. Girls, on the other hand, are scarred with different patterns that are done for beauty. As this takes place, the children rarely, if ever, cry because a reaction to the pain is seen as weak, resulting in them losing respect within the tribe. There are various tribes that practice facial scarification within Sudan, and many variations of scars identify different tribes, as well as the beauty of different women. The other tribes are the Sepik River tribes of New Guinea. This tribe uses scarification as a small part of a large ceremony that lasts weeks at a time. These ceremonies are for boys as an initiation into manhood. After the celebration, these boys are now men, meaning that they now partake in the responsibilities of the other men within the tribe or village. The scars that these young men receive are meant to emulate the rough skin of alligators. The Sepik tribe believes that the alligator consumes any presence of a boy within the body, resulting in the boy now becoming a man. Said to have been inspired by a dancer named Yao Niang, who had bound her feet into the shape of a moon while dancing on her toes for Emperor Li Yu, is feet binding. For almost 1,000 years, young girls in China at the very young age of 5 or 6 would go through the extremely painful process of feet binding. This was the process in which every toe, aside from the big toe, was broken and tightly wrapped under the foot, creating a triangular shape using silk cloth. These girls were then forced to walk long distances in order to break the foot further and to settle the foot into the correct shape. As time went on, the foot would become shorter as the heel and sole of the foot slowly would come together. Extra pieces of skin were even cut off of the foot to correct the shape. The most desired feet would only measure a shocking 3 inches. These smaller feet displayed high social status and wealth. There is an underlying reason many poor mothers would bind their young daughters' feet, and that was to attract powerful and wealthy men. While this was all done in the name of beauty, these girls were often left crippled and deformed, which is why they had to have wealth, as they didn't need their feet to work in fields. Christian missionaries in the 19th century effected social change, meaning today only the very elderly still have these feet. The last woman to have their feet bound can be traced as recently as the 1930s. Among the best-known cultures to sharpen their teeth are the Mentawai, an indigenous tribe located in the jungles of Indonesia. These people believe that sharpened teeth represent beauty, in which the sharper and more narrow the teeth are, the more desired a woman is. Sharpening of teeth is a practice that can be traced back as far as the ancient Mayans. The true reasoning behind this is not completely understood today. However, it is believed that the elderly women of these tribes would file down younger women's teeth using different stones as well as water to achieve desired shapes. The sharpening of teeth is seen as beautiful and elegant. Traced back as far as 2000 BC, and maybe among the most well-known body modification tools is the corset. First becoming popular in the 16th century, it reached the height of popularity during the Victorian era. This painful technique was essentially the same as foot binding in China. It was just done to the waist rather than the feet. Women would tightly bind their entire torso just to squeeze their waists and create an hourglass figure. Over time, the corset evolved into different shapes and styles, but the concept remained the same: slim the waist. This practice altered the shape of the rib cage as revealed by this x-ray, and would often shift organs like the liver, as well as damage the heart and lungs of women who used it. During the 1920s, corsets slowly faded out of common society, and while not as popular as they once were, corsets and tight lacing are still used in modern Western society. The original goal of nose plugs for the women of the Apatani tribe in India was to become unattractive. See, before this tribe began to practice using nose plugs, they were considered to be the most beautiful women among all Arunachal tribes. Thus, they modified their noses and face as a form of protection, believing if they were undesired by the men of other tribes, they wouldn't be kidnapped or sexually assaulted. Women would wear these large wooden.
Isso aí eu nunca tinha visto, cara. Sinceramente, isso aí eu nunca tinha visto.
And to practice using nose plugs, they were considered to be the most beautiful women among all Arunachal tribes. Thus, they modified their noses and face as a form of protection, believing if they were undesired by the men of other tribes, they wouldn't be kidnapped or sexually assaulted. Women would wear these large wooden plugs in their noses, which over time became tradition. However, this tradition has slowly faded out. This tribe is 26,000 members strong today, which had these women not used nose plugs may have never been possible were they kidnapped by rival tribes. Only the elderly women still use these nose plugs, meaning that when their generation passes, so does this part of their culture and will forever be gone.
História interessante, cara.
Otzi the Iceman is a name that you may not be familiar with. He is a frozen mummy who was found by tourists in 1991, dating back to an incredible 3,300 BC. What is important about this discovery is that he is the earliest example of humans using body modification. He was found with tattoos on his back and legs, as well as stretched earlobes, measuring a
Tem um lance aí, né? É uma oportunidade, né, que eu tenho de fazer um outro comentário. O humano, ele surge com o étnico. É uma coisa que vai ficar um pouco mais clara quando a gente fizer vídeo aqui sobre as teorias do Leroy Gourhan. Faz tempo que eu estou prometendo esses vídeos. Mas você não tem dois tempos, né? Ou seja, a formação do Homo sapiens e depois o surgimento da cultura, ou melhor, da diferenciação cultural. O homem não se formou como Homo sapiens, né? Desenvolveu o seu cérebro e tudo mais, e depois começou a se diferenciar culturalmente. Não. Você tem o surgimento do Homo sapiens já junto com a cultura. O homem já surge com essa segunda pele, digamos assim. Ele já surge se diferenciando culturalmente, carregando adereços que o diferenciavam de outros grupos humanos, carregando uma vestimenta que o diferenciava de outros grupos humanos. O fato, né, desse exemplo, né, que ele está dando ser tão antigo assim, só reforça isso. Se nós pudéssemos vasculhar com mais cuidado os fósseis mais antigos que nós temos do Homo sapiens, nós veremos que lá já existe alguma forma de diferenciação cultural. Seja o modo como ele fabricava seus artefatos mais rústicos possíveis e tal. Enfim, nós já veremos no surgimento do Homo sapiens alguma diferenciação étnica. Algum detalhe que ele carregava no corpo que era diferente, etc. Isso é algo que eu achei agora a oportunidade de comentar. É uma coisa importante.
Zero gauge in today's measurements, or about 8 millimeters. Ear stretching has been a custom practiced for thousands of years across multiple tribes. There are various tribes in Africa, Eurasia, and people virtually throughout the entire world who stretch their ears. There are many different techniques in doing so. Some, like the Maasai tribes of Africa, stretch ears using small weights to stretch down their lobes. Others, like the Huarani of the Amazon, also use weights as well as pieces of wood or stone, using increasingly larger pieces to stretch out their earlobes. This tradition holds symbolism and beauty among tribes, often holding religious meaning as well. Among some tribes, stretched ears are believed to fight off evil spirits, as well as witchcraft. This body modification has continued to take place for centuries and is incredibly spread throughout the world, from tribes in Africa to the Western world in Europe and North America. This somewhat alien-looking skull is actually the product of human modification, known as skull elongation, a practice that incredibly shows up all throughout recorded human existence. Skulls like this have been found around the world, from Iraq to Africa, Peru to Russia, and even pharaohs in Egypt, like Tutankhamun, who also happen to have stretched out earlobes. The African tribe of Zari began to place bindings around infants' skull in order to produce the desired effect. When a child is still young, our skulls are very soft. This is because as children, our brains grow extremely fast, often even faster than bones. Because of this, the skull has to be flexible in order to allow for the growth of our brain. This, therefore, allows for the manipulating of how and where the skull grows. When and where exactly this began is unknown, since it dates back so far. But what is known is that the Vanuatu people believe that the longer the skull, the more intelligent they are. It is also seen as a greater social status in Borneo. Incredibly, as late as the 1960s, the Mangbetu people of Africa continued skull elongation for beauty. Cameroon, Africa, where maybe the most horrifying and barbaric body modification on this list is practiced: breast ironing and flattening. This is a method used on women to stop girls at the early stages of puberty, around the age of 9, from growing matured breasts. Tightly wrapped bands are placed around young girls' breasts, as well as pounding with spatulas to stop their breasts from developing. Breast ironing consists of stones and steel being heated to extremely hot temperatures over fire before placing them on the breasts of girls in an attempt to melt away the fat within the breast, thus flattening their chest. This dangerous and horrible practice takes place to make women less desirable to men. Strangely, this technique doesn't actually work. When breasts begin to heal, women must go through this procedure again and again, which in turn causes severe psychological and physical damage over time. In early 2016, reports came out of Britain that mothers were using this technique on their children, using spatulas and even hammers to pound down breasts.
Eu queria assistir esse vídeo porque ele dá um exemplo, né, bem interessante de como que essa individuação psíquica / coletiva se expressa, dentre outras formas, né, dessa forma, da modificação do corpo. O que nós estamos vendo aí é que o humano não é humano apenas sendo biologicamente da espécie humana. Ele precisa se modificar, ele precisa dessa segunda pele, dessa modificação do corpo, ou desse adereço com o qual ele reveste o corpo, seja o que for. Ele precisa dessa individuação coletiva, psíquica / coletiva, porque aqui nós estamos vendo o coletivo dar uma forma ao psíquico e também ao físico, né? Obviamente. Eu queria mostrar esse exemplo porque ele mostra muito bem como o coletivo imprime sua marca no corpo mesmo do indivíduo,